If at first you don't succeed, the White House backed teacher bailout hitting a roadblock in Congress. So now new reports, House Democrats want to take $10 billion in unspent stimulus cash to pay for it. They say they need it to prevent massive teacher layoffs. Toby, you say?
You're insane. What the federal taxes are? I'm supposed to pay taxes for, Michigan or California. Look at what are property taxes for? What are sales taxes for? Those are local fees. The cities decide this. The cities decide how many teachers they're going to have. They say how they're going to run their business. Us, federal taxpayers, paying and bailing out failed systems in the states is not what the federal government was designed for, and it's certainly not what federal income taxes were designed for.
Okay, Caroline, should we be using this stimulus money to pay for teachers?
I can't think of a better way to spend it, Brenda, for three reasons. One, it's going to middle-class families. It's immediately going to stimulate the economy. Two, it keeps unemployment numbers low. And three, what better way to invest in our future and our competitiveness than to put money into our kids? And I disagree that it's about failing systems. It's about budgetary shortfalls as a result of the economic recession.
Caroline,
so
if I quit paying my home mortgage, and I take that money and I, go on vacations in Florida, that's going to stimulate the economy too for, I don't know, a couple of months. But does that have anything to do with reality?
The point here is, Gary B., that this would be temporary, and temporary stimulus never really gets us out of a recession, does it?
Absolutely, Brenda. I tell you what, things that Caroline said, I respect the heck out of her, but she makes my blood boil. For one, in the most recent stimulus package, we already spent $100 billion was shoveled into education. Two, I'll tell you what, the private sector certainly suffered during this recession, but the unemployment rate in the public sector is the best. It's still at almost full employment levels at about 4%. Three, over half the states over the last 10 years have added teachers faster than their student enrollment has gone up. And Caroline, pulls out the old violin, I can't think of a better place. Yeah, listen, I would agree if our education system worked. And yet our test scores amongst the kids are falling way behind the rest of the world.
Quickly, Caroline.
You're shifting the topic. This is not about the quality of teachers or education.
We're talking about bailouts, talking about them getting money.
Well, why do we want to give bad teachers more money
because they're not doing well?
Okay, hold on.
We're not talking about bad teachers. We're talking about budgetary shortfalls. It's a very different topic.
They have the lowest unemployment of any sector.
Hold on. Eric,
and
does
so
it
they should
surprise
be penalized when there's this opportunity?
Caroline, I'm sorry. I have to cut you off a second. Eric, does it surprise you this is a heavily unionized industry?
No, it's the biggest portion of unions. Teachers are the biggest union people on the planet. Guess who are the biggest supporters of the Dems? The unions. This is all, shake my hand, I'll shake your hand back.
And if you have a cookie, I have a cookie.
Very bad policy. There are better ways to spend the unspent stimulus. Give the money back being the most obvious.
Caroline, I'm sorry, but I got to get Pat in, otherwise he'll be very mean. He'll give me a cookie and all that. So, Pat, we bailed out auto workers. Why not bail out teachers?
Politically, that's unfortunately the slippery slope we've come down. You sort of bail out one, it's pretty hard to say no to the other one. The better solution would be to sort of force a fiscal day of reckoning with a lot of our municipalities and states and realize that essentially they've made a lot of promises. It's not about current spending, unfortunately. It's not about the recession. It's about a lot of promises they've made in terms of unfunded benefits for the future, retirees and retirement benefits for public workers that simply can't be met. And that's a fact that we need to recognize both as a nation and at the local level.
Caroline, you can have 10 seconds. Last ones I got.
I think it's somewhat ironic that in the same bill where the $10 billion is being added in, there's $40 billion nearly for war efforts. We have no issues funding war efforts, but when it comes to education, it suddenly becomes deprioritized.
I got to let you have that. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it, Caroline.